guys, so today I'm talking about something that I get asked about almost every single day, believe it or not. Why I decided to dye my hair red. It is literally the topic of conversation all over my Instagram, with people I'm just meeting, with people at work. Like, people just want to know about my red hair. Now, I don't want to burst any bubbles, but I'm going to be honest on here because it's YouTube and you got to be honest. My hair's not natural. I dye it. I dye it a lot. I dye it all the time. I have the most amazing colorist. Her name is Cassandra Kading. You've probably seen her all over my Instagram if you follow me. Her Instagram handle is @ckadingcolor, and she works at Sally Hirschberger in Los Angeles. So I want to talk about why and how I came to the decision to dye my hair red. And believe it or not, it is very rooted in my history. Let's rewind to when I was a baby. Okay, I was born with fire engine red hair, according to my mother, and I've seen pictures. It was pretty orange. So my mom said that I'm the firstborn. My mom said that I came out and she looked at me for the first time and she's like, "Ah, poor baby, wah wah wah," because I had bright orange hair. I came out of the womb with blazing orange hair, and as I got older, it went from like orange to like a kind of a, what's that middle color? Orangey auburn when I was little, and then it went kind of dishwasher blonde, like really dark blonde, super light brown with blonde highlights in the front. And then as I got older, I got a little fat. Please excuse my fat ears. I got tormented, by the way. My friends used to call me Butterball. It is so mean. They weren't even really friends. Who calls people Butterball? Like, we can get into that in another like body issue video, but right now we're talking about hair. So when I was younger, I had like the dark blonde, light brown hair, and then I grew somehow these two platinum blonde highlights in the front. I looked like Jerry Spice from the Spice Girls. It was actually kind of cool, but all my friends ridiculed me and said that I was dyeing my hair when I wasn't. And to this day, I actually still have two blonde streaks that grow out in the front. A little backstory about me. I'm from Southern California. I was raised here. I moved here when I was 5 from Maryland. And I'm like, where did I move from? From Maryland. And so I grew up here in Palos Verdes Estates, California. And I grew up in the era of Paris Hilton and Nikki Hilton. So they were like the most famous people. And I just wanted to be tan and blonde. And I was pale and brunette. Let's just say I was brunette. I don't have any red in my hair anymore, sadly. So I was pale and brunette. And I was teased for being pale, and I was teased for being fat, and I got really skinny, but then I wanted to change how I looked because I wanted to fit in. So right before my freshman year of high school, I got my first highlights. And I was so excited because I begged for these highlights. I was like, "Mom, please let me get highlights, please." I like cried and cried, and finally I got the damn highlights. And I'm gonna show pictures. So this is my picture on my driver's license that I still use today that doesn't really work half the time. They think it's a fake ID because it doesn't look like me anymore. But this is me when I was 15. So going to high school, I am kind of like achieving the look that I always wanted. I was thin and I started getting spray tans because Mystic Tan came out. And then I had blonde hair, and it became an addiction, honestly. Like I think looking back, I definitely had a problem. I was sick. I was obsessed with being tanner and blonder and tanner and blonder. So that's what I did. I spent my off-duty time when I wasn't studying trying to be blonder and trying to be tanner and idolizing people who were blonde and who were tan. You get the picture. So by senior year of high school, my hair was so blonde and people loved it. Like I got so many compliments on my hair all the time. Looking back, it's not a good look, and it's so blonde and it's so yellow, but I won't name the colorist who did that. It wasn't Cassandra, obviously. So, and I'll tell the tanning story in a whole separate video. My skin color has been more of a coming of age story than anything else in my life, so I'll get to that later. But the hair. So senior year of high school, I had like the blondest hair ever. I go into college. I rushed a sorority. I went to USC. I was in Kappa Kappa Gamma. I was like all about being a blonde. And then slowly in college, like I guess I started to mature and realize that I wanted to like be my own person. And I spent so much time trying to look like what I thought was the idea of pretty. And then I slowly started becoming more and more comfortable with myself, I think. And I think that's very normal. in your late teens, early 20s, trying to figure out like who you are and what your identity is. So what was it? I remember my hair gets worse though. Okay, it gets better and then it gets really worse and then it gets good again. So I go from being blonde to finally biting the bullet and being like, I'm gonna dye my hair brown and like see what happens. So I wanted something that was a really pretty, like chestnutty, like a light chestnut brown with flecks of gold, and I had this vision and it came true. Like my hair, I remember I went on this sorority invite called Kappa Kidnap and I just like felt so pretty. Everyone was telling me how great my hair looked and how I was in a sorority full of blondes basically. So it was kind of fun to stand out for a little bit. And it wasn't like dark brown. It was a really pretty medium brown, as you can see. So then I went to Paris. I studied abroad in Paris. And when I came back, I was like, I want to dye my hair really dark, like dark brown. I want to have dark brown hair. And I kind of wanted to look like Kristen Stewart. That's when Kristen Stewart started becoming a little bit more famous, and I felt like I was getting paler, like I was allowing myself to get paler, aka not spray tanning quite as much. So I thought it would look nice, kind of like Anne Hathaway. So I go to the salon, and this is why it's so important to have good conversations with your colorist. And I thought I did actually. I told her I wanted a dark brown with no warmth in it. And she gave me, oh God, you guys, it was like I call it black cherry. Like I had black cherry hair. Like it could have been a Nicki Minaj wig. It was so bad. And I tried to embrace it, and the problem was it was just so dark that in order to get it out, I would have had to have used a color remover. And at the time, if we're gonna get personal, I was going through some weird stuff with my hair. I was vegan, but I was a vegan who lived in a sorority in college in the 2000s, and there weren't the same types of foods available to me to eat healthy and be vegan. So I basically was eating gluten-free toast, gluten-free, wheat-free toast, and peanut butter. And that's what I was eating for like every meal. Not to mention, I also was training to run a marathon, so I was just being really unhealthy, and you could see that in my hair. So I didn't want to use the color remover to take out the brown that we had just put in, because my hair was getting really fragile and breaking, and I was on a weird birth control that also allegedly caused women to lose their hair. So I had like all these hair issues at the time. So the last thing I wanted to do after already dyeing it so dark was to try and strip it. So I waited it out. And you guys, I've never seen more colors of brown in the rainbow in my entire life. It went from like dark brown, dark black cherry, to the cherryness stayed with me. It got lighter brown and lighter brown and lighter brown. And then finally it faded to this like weird orangey color. It was like the weirdest shade, you guys. And by graduation, my graduation, it's kind of a bummer that my graduation photos are not very cute. I have like this weird kind of like medium orangey hair color, and I let my hair fully grow out. I know that sounds crazy, but I fully let it fade. I fully let it grow out, and I graduated college. I was doing internships and working, and I slowly started to see my hair get healthier and healthier, and I had long hair at the time, so I let it grow out to probably about like here. It's where like the line grew out. And then finally I went to a really good colorist. His name is Eric Orlana, and he kind of smoothed it all out and gave me a little ombre. And if I'm gonna be honest, I've always wanted to have like a really dramatic ombre, but I never did it, and I think it's too late to do it. So yeah, I had regular hair for a really long time. While I was working at Pop Sugar when I was younger, I had like medium brown hair with ombre, and then I started going a little bit more ombre, and then one day I was like, I want to dye it red. And I had been red shamed. I call it red shaming because over the years I feel like people have always called me a redhead and made me feel insecure about having red hair, whether it's my mom or my friends at the time or people that I was dating. They would always joke that I had red hair, but I didn't have red hair. And I had this weird relationship with red hair. So finally, after a few years, I'm like, I just want to dye it red. Like, if people are calling me a redhead and saying me a redhead, then I must be a redhead, right? Right. So I finally started experimenting with a little bit of red. We started adding it in a little bit at a time, and then a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more. And then Cassandra and I, one day, about a year ago, we were like, let's just freaking do it. Cassandra is so talented that there's no one else I would let dye my hair like punker red. Like if you saw like the right kind of person with this, I could be in like a metal band. You know, it's kind of like a bright red, unnaturally natural color. And I haven't looked back. And honestly, you guys, I feel prettier, I feel more empowered, I feel more confident, I feel like I stand out. There is nothing in my lifetime that is giving me a bigger confidence booster than embracing the redhead in me, even though there's really no redhead in me anymore. But that's my story on how and why I dyed my hair red and how it makes me feel. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys have any hair issues? Have you ever been teased for your hair? Because let's be honest, if they're teasing you, it means it's probably something good, because that's how it always works. And I want to know, are you guys like wanting to dye your hair red? Do you have any other questions about red hair? I also did a video on how to take care of red hair or color treated hair. So if you are dealing with issues, whether it's your color coming out too fast or dryness, you should watch my video. I'll make even more videos if you guys want on how to take care of your hair. Yeah, if you guys want to watch them. So yeah, let's start the conversation. Let's talk about it in the comments below. I'm here for you guys, and if anyone's bullying you, send them to this video and maybe they'll feel bad about it, because I cried for many years over being teased for having red hair. And look at me now, take a look at me now. I won't sing for you guys because that would be bad. Love you guys, subscribe to my channel, leave me comments, let's talk, and follow me on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, and check out my website. I'll see you guys later.